welcome back to the Benchwarmers Podcast. First of all, Merry Christmas and hello to my co-host Josh Sykes.
Hello, God, Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas to our viewers out there.
And of course, God's sake, hello to our co-host as well, Frosty. Hello! Whoa, magic. In this week's episode, we're going to be looking back over our Premier League predictions which we did at the start of the season. We did do them for the end of the season, but we're going to look over them now and see how we're getting along halfway through. We've had a brief discussion before and it's not going so great.
No, it's really not. We'll start at the bottom of the table. So, I put West Brom at the bottom of the table.
I put Aston Villa.
And in actual fact, it's Sheffield United. It's not going so well. Let's put it that way. I think I put West Brom bottom because of the newly promoted team. They were never going to do anything. Slaven Bilic is an alright manager, but I don't think he'd ever get them anywhere, and their squad's not exactly amazing. Sheffield United, though, they haven't won a game. They've got 2 points in 14 games, negative 17 goal difference. They're not good. They've got one of the worst defences in the league, unlike last season when they had a very strong defence. It's not going well for them, and I do worry for them. They are going to be a championship club next season.
I think in terms of our actual predictions as well, you've done quite well for yourself, because West Brom are currently sitting 19th in the table, so at least they're all one position off. Aston Villa are currently sitting 9th in the table. But in my defence, at the time of when I put it, they hadn't signed a single player yet. I think the day after we actually put it out, they signed Matty Cash, who's proven a really good right back for them. Since then, they brought in Ollie Watkins, Bernard Traore. They brought in some really good players since then, which explains why they've had their surge at the table. But yeah, in terms of Sheffield United, it's not looking good. Apparently, arguments going on between Brewster as well at the club and things like that. If I was a Sheffield United fan right now, I'd be really worried.
Yeah, but I mean, they could never really expect them to do what they did last season. Last season, it was a poor Premier League, so they were always going to finish high. I think their style of football was unknown. No one really knew what to expect from them. This season, the second syndrome season has caught up with them. Everybody knows how they play now. There's nothing really
magical.
Yeah, there's nothing magical going on with them anymore. Chris Wilde has been found out. They've not got Dean Henderson in goal anymore. The goals aren't there. It's not looking good for them.
No. Onto our next prediction in 19th place, I put West Ham.
I put Fulham. Now, in actual 19th place, it's like Gab just said, it's West Brom. I put Fulham because, again, a newly promoted side, never really going to do anything. I don't rate Scott Parker as a manager.
No,
he's not Premier League proven, and I don't think he's the right man for the job. They've not got an amazing squad. Yes, they brought in a couple of players. They're not good sign. Well, they're decent signings, but they're nothing of Premier League stature.
No, and obviously had the whole penalty problem with Lookman missed a penalty, Mitch Fitch missed a penalty. I think it was Cavallero, I want to say, that missed a penalty as well. If you're a club fighting against relegation, you need to be taking your chances, especially at penalties, because there's no bigger chance than that if you got to think about it. In terms of where I put West Ham United there. I thought at the time they hadn't really made any interesting signings. They have David Moyes, don't they?
They do have David Moyes, and I mean, it kind of reflects what I said. I said at the start of the season that they'd be bottom at Christmas. It is now Christmas, and they're nowhere near bottom.
They're actually double what you said. They're actually 10th in the league. So, I don't really rate David Moyes as a manager, to be honest. I think he's always been overrated, especially when he went to Man United. Obviously, things went wrong from there. I put West Ham just for that, really.
Yeah, in 18th place, then I put Aston Villa. Gab, you put
West Brom.
Okay, so not that far off then. And in actual 18th place is Fulham. Obviously, we've just discussed them, saying what we thought about them. But as for Aston Villa, like Gab said before, they hadn't really brought in any signings. Now, like he said, they brought in Ollie Watkins, who's been an absolute gem for them. Jack Grealish has started the season and continued in brilliant form. Traore, he's been alright.
Yeah, he's looked promising at times.
Yeah, and Matty Cash has been an outstanding signing for them, as well as Ross Barkley, who's now injured.
And Emiliano Martinez in goal.
Yes.
What a keeper.
What a signing that was. Absolute steal.
Yeah.
And you put West Brom.
We've already briefly gone over them. I knew the promoted team, didn't see anything special about them, didn't really make any new signings for that alone. Yeah, put them far down. We won't really go into detail about that. 17th position, then we've again disagreed on where we put, but I put Newcastle United.
I put Crystal Palace. And in actual fact, it's Brighton who are in 17th place at the minute. So Crystal Palace are doing decent. You know, they're not the best. Yes, they've just lost 7-0 to Liverpool.
They're going along steadily.
But, yeah, they're being Crystal Palace.
Yeah, really.
Never relegation threats, never really promotion. Well, they can't really get promoted in the Premier League, but never really European threats.
Yeah.
The signing of Eze he's been good for them. He's not got amazing numbers, but he's been decent. I will give him that. He scored a nice free kick, but then they go and lose. Well, they play exceptionally well against Tottenham, and then they go and lose 7-0 to Liverpool.
Yeah, Crystal Palace are a bit of a yo-yo team, I think, at this point. Not in terms of going down, but in terms of they could beat a top 6 team perhaps and look really good in the day, and then they'll go and lose on another day. It's a bit of a going back and forth, really. I don't really rate Roy Hodgson as a manager, to be completely honest. I think he's a bit of a dinosaur in terms of footballing styles. Nevertheless, in terms of Newcastle United, obviously they are currently I've completely gone off it now. They sit in 12th place, so around about Crystal Palace, to be fair. Yeah, the likes of Callum Wilson in that team, Alan St Maximin, even Carl Darlow in that's had a decent season. I think Newcastle are like Palace and a team that will never really push it for Europe, or never do rarely. But then again, they're not really fighting against relegation much nowadays, so yeah, hopefully they can get that takeover done as soon as possible whenever it comes back up again, and they can finally start pushing towards a better club.
As for Brighton, who actually do sit in 17, some of the signings they've made have been good. The likes of Lallana, they've got Lamptey at right back, who's been an absolute gem for them. In terms of Brighton themselves, they're Brighton. They're never going to be top half threats. They're always going to be in a relegation battle. But yeah, he's been all right for them. Do I think they're in trouble? Yeah. Do I think they'll go down? No. I think the bottom 3 is going to be the bottom 3.
Yeah, in terms of Brighton, again, like you just said, they brought in Lallana, Veltman, Welbeck. The signs they've made are not inspiring, if that makes sense. Lallana's a good sign, admittedly, but the rest of them are players who haven't really improved in the Premier League. Welbeck got relegated with Watford last season, so not too inspiring for a fan of the club. So I think for that alone, they're always going to struggle this season. But yeah, in 17th place. In 16th place, in actual fact, is Burnley, but I have put Fulham.
And I put West Ham.
Yeah, we've kind of like just swapped around now with our positions.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we've talked about West Ham, we've talked about Fulham. So in terms of Burnley then, Burnley are Burnley. Play a classic 4-4-2, Route 1 football. Everybody knows how they play, but at the same time, they're a rough team, so it's quite hard to defend against them and also to break them down because of the solid...
Brexit.
Yeah, because, right. Because the solid 2 banks of 4, and then obviously you've got your 2 strikers. So they're all right. They're not really in any trouble in my opinion. So for me, I think they're going to be safe this season. But yeah, obviously, as we said, I said West Ham in 10th place at the minute. They're doing wonders.
Yeah, I think for Burnley as well, Sean Dyche at the helm. I really like him as a manager. I think he's a bit of a stalwart at the club now. He's done really well for himself in that Burnley side. He brings in players who, not going to sound really weird, but he brings in players who maybe had played at Championship level or Premier League level, and he seems to do well with them. Josh Brownhill in that club right now is doing really well for himself. He came from Championship level. He's finding those gems in the lower leagues and bring them up, which he does really well. And it's proven why I agree with Josh. I think Burnley will survive this season. Yeah.
Yeah. So in 15th place, then I put Brighton. Gab, you put
Crystal Palace.
And now we can actually all laugh at Arsenal.
Oh, either in 15th place. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yay.
Really tired.
Sorry, I've just eaten some chocolate.
Arsenal, what is going on in that club, everything's going wrong. Mikel Arteta, I honestly thought he'd do well for them, working under Guardiola. Got a good player style. Arsenal are a club who maybe needed a bit of a club legend to come out right now and just take the club by the scruff of its neck and just pull it up again. But he's not done that for them. The signings haven't been great, in my opinion. Lacazette's been underwhelming. The new signing of Runarsson, we had a brief discussion before the podcast about him. Not been great. I mean, obviously, he made those mistakes against Manchester City over the weekend on Tuesday night. I don't want to play them.
Yeah, in the Carabao Cup. But I mean, what you've got to look at, though, is they sacked Unai Emery because he wasn't doing well for them. His record at Arsenal to date is still better than Arteta. He's just taken Villarreal on a 19-game unbeaten run, which is the best in their history, proving he's actually a good manager.
Yeah.
So you've got to look at, is it the manager at Arsenal or is it the players and the backroom staff? Because Aubameyang, since he scored his new contract, he's been dire. They've scored 3 goals from open play this season.
Yeah.
They've been atrocious.
I think along with that, the whole incident with Mesut Ozil not being involved in the squad. I'm not too sure what to think of that because
Maybe they'll bring him back in January.
A fantastic player. His wages are going to be a lot, but if they're not going to involve him in the squad, they've got to sell him. But they can't just have a player like that just sitting around. You've got to use him, especially if you're 15th in the league. I mean, you look at the likes of Burnley or Brighton or even Leeds United who are in 40th. They'd kill for a player like Mesut Ozil if it weren't for his wages.
No, I mean, what you got to look at is Arsenal need to do something in January. They're not going to go out and spend money because it's Arsenal.
Yeah.
So they have to use what they've got at the minute, and what they've got at the minute is someone sat on 300 grand a week in the reserves. Mesut Ozil, you've got to bring him back in January. You need that creative spark, which they don't have. They've got no one that can do that.
I think if Arteta isn't going to be sacked as well, I think the brave thing to do would be just to walk away from the club, to be honest. I mean, yeah, that doesn't look great as a manager or as a club legend, but at least he'd leave his dignity. You see it happening nowadays as well, where managers who perhaps have players to play at the club might leave so they don't ruin it even more. I'm not saying he's the problem, I agree, I think it is the players, but maybe a change in the managerial slot might be time to look at for the Arsenal board.
Potentially.
Arsene Wenger in.
Now then, in 14th place, I put Leeds.
I put Burnley.
In actual fact, it's Leeds.
Oh,
the
well
first one we've got right.
I'll still come back at that end of season then.
I know. So, as current, Leeds are doing what I expected them to do. They're not challenging for the top half like everybody said they would.
Yeah.
They're also not fighting relegation like I said they wouldn't. They're being Leeds. They're comfortable around top bottom half table Premier League team. It's where I expect them to be. They're playing some nice football. Bielsa doesn't have a plan B.
No.
Teams have already worked them out, and he's not going to change his style. So they've just got to play to what they know, which is go for games, try and get teams by the throat, get the early goal, and win early on. As we saw against Man U, they couldn't get the early goal. They were 2-0 down within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was purely because they were on the front foot for that initial, well, I wouldn't say for the initial part of the game, for the entire game, even when they were down.
Yeah.
And you go and lose 6-2.
Yeah, I think this is going to be obviously a bit of a controversial point coming from us because Bradford fan and a Huddersfield fan. Marcelo Bielsa is the most overrated manager in the history of the Premier League.
I'm not even going to get into how he managed to finish third in the FIFA Best Coach.
Jesus Christ, it don't even make sense. He's 14th in the Premier League. He's got people saying, "Oh, he's got a Championship squad." I'm not being funny.
Huddersfield have had more of a Championship squad than he has.
I think Leeds have a better squad than Palace, maybe even Newcastle, maybe even Aston Villa. But they have a better squad than some of these teams who are above in the league. Bielsa, like Josh said, he's not got a plan B. He's very stubborn in the way he coaches players. He can't even speak English in the press conferences, not being funny. That had nothing to do with it.
He's right, though. He's showing his mentality.
He's just stubborn. He's unwilling to change his tactics. He's unwilling to learn and adapt as a manager. And it's why teams like Man United were able to snuff them out and, well, just destroy them 6-2. It will happen again for Bielsa.
Man U aren't even good. They just ping the ball around them all game.
Exactly. I mean, look at those 2 opening goals. Admittedly, a great finish by Scott McTominay for that goal. But you can't be having that much time and space on outside the box. Even that second goal, how have they got in behind the defence that easily? You've got looking at this Leeds United squad and saying, obviously, Bielsa's a great manager and people are saying how he deserves all the plaudits he's getting. But they've got to be doing better if they've got a manager of that sort of ability. I mean, I saw something on Twitter which I thought really realistic. How Bielsa, the best manager in the Premier League, got beat 6-2 by the PE teacher, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah.
It's just,
For me, again, not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Marcelo Bielsa is an overrated manager, and God knows how he managed to get third in the FIFA Men's Best Coach
it
award.
doesn't make sense.
Because if you're going to set a precedent that if you get a team promoted from the Championship, you're going to automatically get into it, then Scott Parker should have got into it, David Wagner should have got into it,
Chris Wilder.
He should be
even more of a shout of it.
But I mean,
Bielsa.
The top two were Jurgen Klopp and was it Hans Flick?
I'm not sure.
The Bayern Munich manager. At the end of the day, you've got that third place. You've got a load of other managers that you could have chosen.
Guardiola.
You could have Guardiola. You could have had Thomas Tuchel last season. You could have had. I'm trying to think, but there's lots and lots of Brendan Rodgers. Even there's lots and lots of managers you could have had that deserved it more than Bielsa. But we're getting off topic here. But yeah, Leeds are 14th because that's what they are.
Yeah, I was trying to add something quickly to that as well. The media are massively overhyping Leeds this season. Every given opportunity, they'll praise Leeds. I think there was something on social media about how the commentators were saying Leeds had such a brilliant performance against Man United when they were literally 6-2 down, I think it was at that point. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, we'll move on before we cry into more salt. Into 13th place then. Josh, who have you put?
I put Newcastle.
I put Brighton, who currently sit in 17th place, and Newcastle sitting in 12th.
In actual fact, it's Crystal Palace, like we said. So, again, Newcastle, they're never going to be backed by Mike Ashley.
No.
It's the same old saga. A person comes in to buy them in the summer. He doesn't give the squad any money because he thinks he's going to sell it. Doesn't sell it. Squad gets no money. It's just a repeated cycle.
Yeah.
As for you put Brighton,
Yeah.
we've briefly discussed them, obviously, because they're down in 17th. Have you got anything else to add quickly on that?
No.
And as for Crystal Palace, again, we've discussed them. They're about where they should be, if I'm honest.
Yeah, they've got a good squad. Zaha, Etze, how you pronounce it, in that team. They've got a really good team. I think if they could maybe bring in a few more players, they could be even challenging for Europe, to be honest with you. That's a big statement out there, but Roy Hodgson don't really rate him as a manager.
No. So, in 12th place, I put Burnley.
I put Leeds.
And it's Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, I've been quite impressed with Newcastle this season. I've seen a lot of, obviously, team fans calling for Steve Bruce's head for some reason after the loss to Brentford and drawing with Fulham and losing to Leeds as well, actually. Wow. But saying that, I don't think he's necessarily done a bad job. He's got a really negative board behind him with the likes of Mike Ashley. He's got players like Joelinton. I'm not sure if Bruce was the one who brought Joelinton to the club, but that's a really substantial fee for them. And
Actually, but
he's not exactly excelled at the club, but bringing the likes of Callum Wilson from a relegated team who's done quite well for them, say maximum levels above Newcastle in my opinion, could be playing at a team like, I'd say Arsenal, but
Newcastle better than Arsenal.
Yeah, I think Bruce has done quite a good job there, to be fair to him. I don't really rate him as a manager, but I think he's done quite well for them. If I were a Newcastle fan, I'd be pleased with 12th position.
So would I, to be fair. In 11th place then, who did you put?
I put Sheffield United, which proved completely wrong.
I put Sheffield United as well.
Yeah,
well, we all know how that turned out. In actual fact, it's Wolves. So let's talk about Wolves for a little bit.
Yeah.
Wolves, for me, obviously, they've lost their main striker in Raul Jimenez, who will probably be out for a couple more months, I'm guessing. Obviously, he's just recovering from a fractured skull.
Yeah.
As a result of that, the Premier League have brought in the concussion substitutes. Each team's allowed to make 2 a game. And apparently they're also doing something called mirror substitutes, where the other team can bring in a substitute because managers will use the concussion substitute as a way to change tactics if they've currently used their 3 subs already.
Yeah.
So for me personally, the FA shouldn't mess with rules that have been implemented by UEFA or FIFA because they want to be different. It just proves how cynical they think managers in the Premier League are. But anyway, enough about that. And on to Wolves. For me, they're underperforming this season.
Yeah, I agree.
Compared to where they've been the last couple of seasons, obviously challenging for the Europa League, they've underperformed. They've not been as well drilled as they have been in the past. I'm going to say I haven't watched Wolves a lot this season. I think I might have seen one of their games. But yeah, they're not that far off Europe. They're 5 points off it, but their attack's not been good this season, and neither's their defence.
No, I think obviously the loss of Jimenez heavily affected that. One thing I do like about Wolves this season is their implementation of the youth sort of in their squad. You got Fabio Silva, Pedro Neto, Owen Otasoe, sorry, no, I didn't pronounce that. Matt Kilman. They've got a lot of young players coming through the ranks.
They've got Kai Hoover from Liverpool.
Yeah, Kai Hoover as well. Even this Ryan Ait-Nouri. They've got a lot of good players coming through the ranks at Wolves. I think the future's going to be bright. But this season, I agree, underwhelmed. Some of the signings have made haven't been terrific. Nelson Semedo's not been fantastic. I think I saw a lot of fans on social media saying they weren't best pleased with him.
Connor Cody's been a classic stalwart at the back.
Yeah, he always will be. Well, he's a fantastic player.
And as for Adama Traore, last season he was on fire. This season he's again been frozen out of the squad, and he's looking for a move away in January with Leeds. Leeds are the favourites to sign Adama Traore.
Well, I hope Wolves ask for a substantial fee for him because he's
last season they wanted 80 million for him. I reckon this season they'll be looking at more 20. That just proves how ludicrous transfer fees are.
No, it is. Yeah.
Right then, on to 10th place. Who did you put?
I'm not sure. I think we put the same thing. Southampton
as well.
Yeah.
And obviously
that one wasn't far off.
No, it wasn't. And obviously we put West Ham are actually in 10th. We've spoken about West Ham.
Yeah.
So as for Southampton, they currently sit in 7th place.
Yeah.
They've been good this season. The likes of Danny Ings, Che Adams has finally stepped up to the mark. James Ward-Prowse has proven himself to be one of the best free kick takers, not only in the Premier League but probably in Europe. He's amazing at free kicks.
Yeah, he's quality. And I'm an England team, without a doubt.
100% just for his free kicks alone.
Yeah.
But for me personally, Ralph Hasenhüttl has turned that Southampton team around.
Yes, I think they were going slowly falling down the table towards the relegation zone when he came in, and now obviously they're pushing towards Europe, which is an achievement for them.
They were top of the table for one game. At one point this season, for the first time in their history, being top of the Premier League. For me personally, Ralph Hasenhüttl, not only should he be in line for the Arsenal job, he should also be in line for the Manchester United job.
Well,
obviously we'll get onto that in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Southampton, keep going.
Yeah, Kyle Walker-Peters as well, just big shout out to him right back, he's had a great season. As well as Theo Walcott, obviously.
He's looking like he's 16 again.
Scored against Arsenal not long ago, but he's been really impressive since he came in. I don't know how old he is now.
He's like 30.
He's 30 something. He's getting on a bit. He's 31 years old, so you think a winger in the Premier League at 31 years old might start losing the pace, might not be able to play up to standards, but he's looked really impressive, to be fair to him, on that wing. I think he's starting to really make that spot his own. Yeah, really impressive Southampton season. Manager's done wonders. I think you covered everything there.
Yeah. So into 9th place now, then I put Everton.
I also put Everton.
And in actual 9th place is Aston Villa, who we've obviously touched upon, with the likes of Jack Grealish being amazing, Ollie Watkins being fantastic.
Yeah.
So a little bit onto Everton. Obviously Everton sit in 4th place at the minute in the Premier League.
Outstanding.
They've been class. This season they started off really, really well. Then they dropped down significantly in terms of their performances, and then they brought it back in recent weeks.
Yeah.
I think James Rodriguez is injured, if I'm not mistaken, because I've not seen him on the team sheet in the past couple of weeks. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is proving to be a world-class striker. He has been exceptional under Ancelotti, but personally I think that's got a lot to do with Duncan Ferguson. I don't necessarily think it's got anything to do with Carlo Ancelotti. I think it's mainly Ferguson that's helped bring his game to what it should be.
Yeah.
In terms of being a poacher, he's good in the air, he's good with both feet, he's tricky as well, and his link-up play with Richarlison is exceptional at the minute. So Everton, they're looking like Champions League contenders for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, and I think like Josh said, you can praise the attack a lot with Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, James Rodriguez. But you look at the defence they've got as well this season. Yerry Mina and Michael Keane are obviously very, very strong defenders who've done really well for themselves. But Mason Holgate, really broken team. I think, did he break him last season or?
No, he's kind of more coming into it this season because Seamus Coleman was out injured. Now he's just coming back, so I reckon Holgate might be frozen out again. As for Ben Godfrey, again, he signed from
Norwich.
I'd say Norwich, not too sure.
He's been outstanding.
Yeah, he has, but at the end of the moment Luca Digne comes back, Ben Godfrey will be frozen out again because Luca Digne is a better left back.
But if you look at that, the amount of options Everton have got right now, the fact that Godfrey can easily move out into left back when he played centre back / CDM, I think it was last season for Norwich.
Mason Holgate as well is naturally centre back but can play right back.
You've got a very versatile defence which now, right now, which is great obviously for the team. Obviously Jordan Pickford, we know our thoughts on Jordan Pickford. He's not.
We do. I think Angelotti is doing what he can this season to kind of say to him you're not needed.
Yeah.
In terms of I think up until I can't remember who they played, but they ended up putting their second keeper in Olsen.
Yeah.
And that was the first time in I think about 120 games that he'd been dropped. That was the first
ridiculous,
time. And Angelotti dropped him.
Pickford makes a lot of errors.
And he's starting to drop him off for cup competitions. He didn't play against Manchester United last night. So yeah, he's gradually pushing him out. Do I think he'll stay? Obviously he'll stay, but he'll still be their number one. But Ancelotti's just kind of giving him a warning from afar. Yeah,
I think the main thing for Everton now is to keep hold of Dominic Calvert-Lewin because he's young, he's hungry, he's looked prolific in front of goal. If they can keep him in the squad and keep him firing, it's going to be fantastic. But obviously they're going to get interest because Everton aren't as big as a club as say Manchester United, who obviously have a bigger fan base and bigger stature, more money. He might be pried away by a bigger club, so for Ancelotti personally, it's got to be to keep hold of Calvert-Lewin because he's their star asset right now. If you keep hold of him, I think they could really build for something special in the future.
Definitely. So then, in 8th place, I put Wolves.
I also put Wolves.
We've obviously touched upon Wolves. So in 8th place, in reality, it's Manchester City.
Yeah, a bit of a shock on that, especially from where we talk about later, where we put Man City. But
yeah, so they've been underwhelming. I mean, they obviously lost David Silva, which is one of their creative sparks.
Yeah.
They've lost Aguero, so they've had to rely on Jesus, who we all know is not amazing. And because he got injured, they had to rely on Ferran Torres, who has been an exceptional signing for them.
Yeah.
He's been amazing. As for their midfield, I feel sorry for Phil Foden. He played the other day, absolute blinder of a game, played exceptional. And yet Guardiola still doesn't want to use him in the squad. And I can't understand why. But personally, Man City, they've been underperforming this season. They'd be lucky to get Champions League.
yeah, I'm going to be honest, I don't really watch Man City this season. I don't think I've watched them once. But I think, judging from the defence, and I've heard good things about Ruben Diaz, him and Laporte at the back can make a really strong partnership. I heard João Cancelo's had a really good season as well. No idea about the rest of them, to be honest with you. But yeah, Man City, 8th position is not good enough for a club of their standard. I think if they had a manager who had less of a reputation than Pep Guardiola in charge, he might have fans calling for his head. But right now, obviously, they know how much of a tactical mastermind they've got at the helm, and I'm pretty sure he'll be sticking around. But yeah, I agree. I don't think they'll get Europe, if I'm completely honest. There's too many teams who maybe haven't been doing so well in previous seasons like Everton and Southampton, who have really just pushed on the season, look really impressive. I think that being said, Man City have had a bit of a sloppy season, and when there's other teams who are vying for those Champions League spots and those Europe spots, a team the quality of Man City need to push on and prove themselves. But
100%, yeah, definitely. So obviously into 7th place now, I put Leicester.
I also put Leicester.
So I think we'll talk about Leicester later, because obviously Southampton finished in 7th. So
Into 5th?
yeah, so no 6th.
6th.
Yeah, so let's move. We'll come back to Leicester. Let's move on into 6th. I put Tottenham.
I put Arsenal.
And well, we all know Arsenal finished up. And obviously I put Tottenham in 6th. And in reality, it is Tottenham 6th.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Tottenham. Jose Mourinho has been really good for them. Son and Kane have formed an amazing partnership.
Yeah.
Harry Kane's playing more of a false 9 now. He's dropping back a lot deeper and helping create the play to link up with Son. Gareth Bale has been a massive flop. Just thought I'd put that out there. He has. Clearly he's not doing something right on the training ground because Mourinho doesn't want to play him. So yeah, Tottenham, they were fighting for the top position. They were top a couple of weeks ago, and now they've dropped off because they've not been able to scrape wins. They've just been getting draws. They've dropped off a bit, as we saw against West Ham, losing in the last 10 minutes. They ended up drawing against Crystal Palace because they couldn't score. Chelsea, I mean, they're in contention, but they're now 6 points off the top, and I don't think they'll be able to claw it back.
Yeah, I think Mourinho wins trophies, and that's definite. So you saw how well they did earlier in the season. I think Tottenham will push on.
I think the EFL Cup is theirs this season, personally.
Yeah.
They're into the semi-final.
They've got Brentford
now.
in the semi-final, who are a championship team.
They'll beat Brentford, Man City will beat Man U, and I reckon they'll beat Man City in the final, if I'm honest.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But in terms of the actual season as well, they've had Giovanni Lo Celso, who's had a bit of an injury. Tonga and Ndombele's apparently had an injury as well. Just had Danny Rose today.
However, Ndombele has come into the squad now. He's playing very well in the number 10 role.
Danny Rose today has apparently been arrested for dangerous driving after a serious crash on the motorway.
Of course he has.
Mourinho's angry with Dele Alli. Just basically, I'm telling you all these things because they are having a few problems at the club right now in terms of injuries and attitude problems, which may be the downfall of their sort of league position in recent weeks. I think you've got a striker as good as Harry Kane, him linking up with another player who's absolutely world class in Heung-min Son. With that sort of strike force, it's now just about getting the more creative players in that team who can link it towards them to up front. Dele Alli's just completely it's just dropped off.
He'll be going in January and stuff.
I can see him actually making his PSG.
So can I, to be fair, because Pochettino liked him.
Yeah.
Well, I say liked him. He was alright with him.
Yeah.
No, but I just quite like what Tottenham put on their Twitter the other day about Heung-min Son.
So
Picture with his mum and dad,
Mum and
Heung-min
dad,
dad,
yeah,
Heung-min mum.
Right. Great man.
On to 5th place now. I put Arsenal. Moving on. In actual 5th place is Chelsea. Who did you put?
I put. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong table there.
You are, well done.
I put Man United.
We'll come on to Man U again in a second. We'll talk about Chelsea. So, Chelsea, Frank Lampard's done well. I think the start of the season the players didn't click. Kai Havertz has been another flop. Timo Werner's been a flop. Hakim Ziyech's been injured. So they're basically relying on last season's squad. If I'm Thiago Silva.
Yeah, the amount of signings and Mendes, the amount of signings that they brought in were all world class. A lot of people looking at Chelsea and seeing them as title contenders. The amount of signings, but they haven't really gelled or had confidence in the squad yet. Hence why Timo Werner's not been great, being honest. Neither's Kai Havertz, but you look at likes of Edouard Mendes, even Thiago Silva, but Ben Chilwell done any good.
Ben Chilwell, all those three signings have been exceptional. Ben Chilwell's been amazing at getting up the line, definitely the left back they needed. Thiago Silva has brought solidity back to their defence, which is again what they've needed. And Edouard Mendy has replaced Kepa Arrizabalaga as their number one goalkeeper.
Understandably.
I don't think they'll look back.
No, my only problem with Chelsea this season is, I'm going to be honest, obviously they're loaning out a lot of players, but Callum Hudson-Odoi is a fantastic youth player if we're looking at it. He's on the bench for Chelsea. I don't know how much he's been starting, to be honest, but
He hasn't.
I'd loan him out. I don't know why you've got a player who was interested from Bayern Munich because he's got such a good prospect for the future. Why you let him rot away on the bench? Let him go out on loan, even to the Championship or a lower league Premier League side. Even to Germany, because you see how many players go to Germany and do really well there. We should let Callum Hudson-Odoi go. He might come back as a much more mature and better player. Maybe push some of the other players out the seam, like maybe Timo Werner, who's not in great form. Play alongside Christian Pulisic on one wing. Another player I've been interested by is Tammy Abraham. He got 2 goals against West Ham in the Chelsea's 3-0 win. I think, obviously, I thought he might be leaving the club at the start of the season with the likes of Werner coming in. Who was on the striker? Got Olivier Giroud, who obviously has had a good season as well. But Abraham, he's really come into it and I've been really impressed with him. I think
he did well last season. He's just carried it on. He's been consistent.
Yeah, I think Chelsea, they've maybe got a future just starting striker there. If likes of rather than going after players like Werner who are costly and proven world class, they could maybe look at their own who have done really well for them.
Yeah. So on to 4th place now.
Both up Liverpool.
We both put Liverpool and in actual 4th place is Everton. Obviously we touched on Everton. We'll come back to Liverpool because now it's on to our top 3.
Yeah.
So in 3rd place, who did you put?
I put Tottenham Hotspur.
We've touched on them.
Yeah.
I put Man United, and it is actually Man United who are in 3rd.
Yeah.
So that is 3 I've got right. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Impressive.
I know, thank you. I know, thank you. So obviously in 3rd place, I put Man U. Man U are in 3rd place. And Man U are a difficult one this season. At home, they've been not the best.
No.
Away from home, they've been better. I don't know what's happening with Donny van der Beek. I really don't.
No.
I don't know why they brought him in. They cost him 34 million and he's sitting on the bench. Edinson Cavani played, well, they got man at match in the Carabao Cup the other night.
Yeah.
And from 60-minute onwards, they're amazing. Anything before 60 minutes, they look worse than Sheffield United. They are diabolical up until that 60th minute. I really don't know what to say about Man U. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's definitely not the man for the job. He can't get the team together properly. Players don't look interested. Paul Pogba in recent weeks has become in form, but that could be because he's off away in January and wants a good move.
Yeah.
Rumour has it Juventus want a swap deal for him and Ronaldo, but then again, when hasn't that been rumoured?
Yeah.
Like I said, they're a difficult one. I reckon they'll definitely make Europe, but he's difficult.
I'm actually going to disagree a bit about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'd keep him at Manchester United. Sure, he's got a lot of fans against him, but he's got this club to 3rd position against the likes of Chelsea, Man City, some quality teams in the Premier League. While they've not looked great in certain performances, I think some of the signs he's made haven't actually been that bad.
I mean, Bruno Fernandes, he's come out this season and said he wants more goal and assist than games, which is the way he's going, he's definitely going to get that.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying to get rid of him, I'm just saying that they can do better.
I disagree.
Be more consistent.
I disagree with the way that Solskjaer's actually handling some of his players as well, in terms of like Van der Beek. Even Alex Telles is supposed to be some world-class left-back, but he can't get in over Luke Shaw right now.
Oh, he can't, that was...
Just a one-off game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
he's
never
been
mind.
playing every single game.
Mason Greenwood, I'd have him starting as well. I know he has been starting some games for Man United, but I think he's absolutely just a fantastic player. And Cavani, again, another world-class striker. I think, again, I haven't been watching Man United, but has he been starting much over Martial?
No.
No, I mean, Martial's not a striker. He's getting a lot of the mick taken out of him at the start of the season about how he got less goals than Kurt Zouma at one point. I think you've got to start looking at Cavani for your starting striker. He was doing it at PSG. He's been doing it at, I think it was Juventus, someone who was at before. Napoli. He's played at some world-class clubs. He's proven himself at those clubs. I gave him a chance at Man United for a free transfer. He's getting on a bit, so why not just utilise him while he can before eventually his clock runs out and he starts to decline as a player. I don't know.
Exactly. Moving on to second place then. We had a debate, obviously, in the original episode of this about who will come first and who will come second. We were both completely wrong.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter. Well, it does, but it doesn't. In second place, I put Man U.
I put Man U.
No, I didn't. I put Man City.
Oh, was it? I put Chelsea.
And in actual fact, it is Leicester.
Yeah. Wow.
Brendan Rodgers has been amazing this season. He's transformed Leicester. Obviously, last season did well, but then they dropped off towards the end of the season. This season, they've just been consistently good. Jamie Vardy's been exceptional.
Yeah.
Kasper Schmeichel's been exceptional. The team themselves, it's been a really good team, and they're going to push. I'm not saying they're going to push Liverpool to the end, because obviously they could drop down to third if Man U win their game in hand. But I can see them pushing for the title again.
Yeah, I think Brendan Rodgers needs to start being classed as a world-class manager. He's won titles in Scotland, which obviously not high when you manage Celtic, but still.
I could win titles in Scotland.
He's done it. I think it was him that pushed Liverpool to nearly get a title.
And then Gerrard slipped.
Yeah, with that. Yeah, well, he's proved himself there, and now he's at Leicester and pushing them to second place and just 4 points behind Liverpool. Obviously, just Man United game in hand, but still, they've been a joy to watch at times this season. Some of the players which are coming to the squad, such as James Justin, signed I think last season, but he's coming to the squad since the injury of Pereira, and he's just looked really
he's been
confident.
The right back position, he's been exceptional for it. Johnny Evans has been really good at the back.
Wesley Fofana's just 19 or 18 years old, I think. He's looked brilliant at the back at times.
Castagne's been exceptional this season since he's come back from injury. Obviously, you've got the classic partnership of Tielemans and Ndidi. James Maddison's just started to come back into the squad, and he's playing well. Harvey Barnes has been good this season. And obviously, you just got Jamie Vardy, who's just always consistently world class.
Yeah, I think Vardy again. I don't know how old he is now. I think he's 34.
33, 34.
He's getting on, but yeah, he still goes into games. Looks pacey. Looks like he wants the ball constantly. Puts the defenders on the last legs and makes them really worry about him. He's just an absolutely world class striker at this point. Even if he's come from non-league and he's maybe not the best for football and history behind him in terms of working his way up the ladder, he's been an inspiration as a striker to I think everyone who really watches Leicester or watches England for that matter. I don't think he plays for England anymore.
No, he doesn't. No.
But still, Vardy's been absolutely outstanding. He's got creative players such as Maddison, Harvey Barnes, even Michael Brighton behind him. Even that Senjig Under, who I don't think he's played as many games for Leicester, but still, it's a bit of backup for a position which lacked it. Rodgers has done a fantastic job in assembling the squad and making players play to the best of their ability. And I'll just touch upon him, but James Justin was playing League 2 with Luton Town not long ago, got his move to the Premier League, and now he looks confident in the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But now into first place, obviously I put Chelsea, who we've touched upon.
I put Manchester City.
And now is Liverpool, who we both put in fourth. It's obviously Liverpool are top of the Premier League again. They started the season poorly, obviously losing 7-2 to Aston Villa, which I still find hilarious.
Yep.
But then this weekend they've gone and beaten Crystal Palace 7-0.
Feels like they were letting off a bit of steam there for Istanbul.
I know, brilliant. But the thing is though, Crystal Palace have been playing decent, and then Liverpool go and batter them 7-0.
Yeah.
Firmino started off poorly. Obviously, Diogo Jota came in, was challenging for the number 9 spot, and now he's properly come into it as Firmino.
Yeah.
Definitely. Obviously, Minamino got his first Premier League goal. Salah's been good. Mane has been good. Trent and Robertson have been
Got
good.
his first Premier League goal a year on from signing for the club.
I don't know. Obviously, Jordan Henderson's been their classic number 6, number 8, whatever you want to call him. That is needed. After their defence, obviously Van Dijk's out for the season. Joe Gomez is out as well. So you've got Fabinho and Matip being there. You've also had Williams who's come in at times, and Henderson's had to drop back to CDM to centre back. At times as well. But they're proving again that it wasn't just a one-off, and they've got the best attack in the league. Not the best defence by any means, but they've got the best attack in the league, and yeah, they're going to be pushing for that title again.
Yeah, I think something that's impressive this season about Liverpool is the fact that they've had so many defensive injuries, the likes of Van Dijk,
Joe Gomez.
Joe Gomez. They've had
Trent and Robertson.
I thought they were. Yeah, they've had quite a few injuries throughout the season, but yet they've managed, if that makes sense, by moving the midfield into defence, bringing in some youngsters who've done really well for them when actually in that team. I think for Klopp, at times, obviously, you look at likes of Nico Williams, who's been that side, Nathaniel Phillips, haven't really got Premier League experience. Maybe won't even get into teams lower down the league, but yet they've come to that team and looked really good for themselves. So take an opportunity, I guess, and Klopp's now got a bit of a dilemma in his hands in terms of the defensive options. Obviously, he will go for Van Dijk being probably the best defender in the world, debatably. After Sergio Ramos. But still, I think these players have come inside and done really well. It just shows how good a sort of backup they've got at this club, and I'm not surprised they're going for the title again.
No, I'm not either. Be interesting. It's definitely going to be a much closer title race this year than what it was last year. There's several teams that could win it this year.
I just want
to
apologise that we put them both in fourth. I think we were just a bit salty that Liverpool won the league probably last season. Thanks, Jack. Oldham fan, look at you. Let me know when you get promoted out of League 2.
Let us know when you can beat us.
Yeah, right then, too far. But yeah,